All right, next we get to hear from another one of our wonderful Habitat homeowners. I am so honored to introduce Vencina Cannady.
Good morning. My name is Vencina Cannady. It is a privilege and a pleasure, a blessing to stand before you this morning as a Habitat homeowner. I give glory. I give glory and honor to God for Habitat. I've been taught all my life, you have to work for what you want out of life. It is not given to you on a silver platter. We're not a part of the royal family from England. Therefore, there is no silver spoon. But I will teach you how to work. And one of my favorite inspirational person in this world that God gave me was my mother. And she always taught that we had to work. We even had to work in the home, out the house. To get anything, we had to work. Then my grandparents came to visit from Mississippi. My family roots is from Philadelphia, Mississippi. And they felt like we needed to go back home because when she came and saw Paramore, she thought she was in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. So she felt that we needed to go back to Philadelphia, and we did. But we also needed to work. So we was taught how to farm, which I reluctantly didn't want to do, because I'm from the city of Orlando, where sidewalks and people and lights, but we had to learn how to plow, how to hoe cotton, chop cotton, pick cotton. We did all of that, and I thank God today for that. Well, I learned how to work, so I come back, go to school, finish. I am a graduate of the mighty Jones High School. I'm very proud of it. And then I decided I didn't want to go to college. I wanted to do things my way. I wanted to become an airline stewardess. So I went to the airline school in Atlanta, Georgia. But then when I came back, things happened. Called myself, fell in love. And I became a mother at an early age, at 19. But it wasn't a handicap. I just had Mama say, you got to go to work. Keep working. You got to get you a house. You got to have a place to stay. You got to take care of this child. Go to work. So I did that. And I worked, and I worked. And I became an employee of Lockheed Martin. And I was working and working, trying to get my piece of the rock right here in Orlando. And I was working 40 and 60 hours, sometimes even more, trying to get that down payment for the house and taking care of the children and do it. And it wasn't coming together. It just wasn't happening. I'm from 707 South Paramore. You can ride through there. That building is still there. It is a rooming house. If you look at the screen, you will see it. I ride by through there right now, and I stop. And I take a gaze and look at the two windows you see up on the right. Those was my rooms where I raised my children. Wasn't shame of where I was from, but I knew that wasn't going to be the end, that God had a plan. And all I had to do was work and follow through. So from that rooming house, I had the privilege of working at Lockheed Martin. I went from there to 2002 Jacobs Place, Orange Center, that is boarded up now. But while the children was there in that rooming house, I noticed they never asked Mama, can we bring a friend home and spend the night? They never asked that. So there was a depression and something that I said, why you all don't have friends to come? And say, Mama, they don't want to come and spend the night in a rooming house. I said, okay, we're going to get a house. Someday, somehow. But you learn a lesson. You get your education, and you can buy what you want to have. But you got to work. So that is the key. So we work. So one particular, this feed, I don't want to bore you with my journey and my story, but it is my life. Now, while I was working at Lockheed Martin, a couple of the buyers came in. I was a supervisor over the master files area. And somebody went to talking about this place, what they was going to do for the weekend, and the word Habitat for Humanities came up. Say, oh, Vinny, we're going to build houses this weekend. I like, build houses? I would love to do that. What can I help? I'll tell you what can I do to become a Habitat owner? And my. That was the key. That was the knock on the door. And I did not know anything about Habitat. So while I was in Jacob's Place, it was the week before Christmas, I put in the application. Didn't have not one Christmas light up. Didn't have the spirit to do that in that particular place until I got that phone call. I hear that phone call and that voice in my mind, my heart today. And that phone call said, Vinny, got good news. You've been approved of a Habitat for Humanities home. I immediately went to the store, and I put lights up on walls, didn't even have windows. I put lights everywhere I could put them. And my children were so happy that they saw me working, and it wasn't enough. I needed not a handout, but I needed a helping hand just to give me that stand I needed for my babies to do better and to go on. And we did just that. Oh, I learned how to sling a hammer. I would go to Habitat after I would get off work in the evenings and learn all about putting on shingles and the drywalls and the 16 inches from the floor to have an outlet and 240 in the kitchen and the plumbing and the caulking. And it wasn't a plow, but I thank God for Habitat. But it didn't just become a home for me and my family. That famous FSU Kermit, you all know him as Whitfield. He lived in that house. He spent the nights there. That is my Habitat home. That is our home. That is my son, Ricardo, who became a real estate broker, who's working with real estate now about building homes and buying homes and learning how to purchase homes. My daughter, the oldest one, Shaquaya, she became a registered nurse. She works for the Greater Orlando Health Center right now in ICU. She is a go-getter. She couldn't be here this morning because the nurse works the graveyard shift. And she have to sleep this time of the day. The baby girl majored in criminal justice and went to the Greater BCU. And of course, she's home and struggling, but she's right there doing what God wants her to do. There are no words that I could stand here before you and tell you what Habitat done and is doing, not just for me, but what it's doing for others. And it's people like you all that don't even know how much your kindness, your compassion for others, the love you have. You know, the Bible teaches, you know, to reach one is to teach one. And we are our brother's keeper. I thank everybody from the bottom of my heart. I'm from a rooming house. And I'm the proud owner of a home. And I love my Habitat home. I light her up every Christmas with the help of my husband. We met at Epcot and fell in love. And guess what? He happened to be an electrician. And I mean a certified union electrician. And so I am so blessed that I have Habitat in my life, because when we started dating, he had to help put those hours in. But God is so good. I just want to say thank you to those of you. I rode through this neighborhood yesterday with my mom, and such beautiful atmosphere, such beautiful homes, so much hard work and love. And I know nobody gave it to them, that they made the right choices and they had an easy life. But some of us do come up on the rough side of the mountain. But it's all right, because there's always, when anything goes up, it must come down. When praises go up, the blessings come down. You are welcome to come and ride through 812 Randall Street, where my Habitat home sits on a hill that is lit with hard work and love, and it has been an inspiration. We have even became foster parents. It is so many people have that home became such a part of. And now that they're grown and got their own, they come back. The night of the storm, and I'll be through, Lynn. The night of the storm when Charlie came through, everybody sleep. I couldn't sleep because I needed to stay in tune with the Lord. And I kept saying to the Lord, "There's no lights on." And I had a candle, and I kept saying, "Lord, you know this is a Habitat house. And Lord, you know, I put so many hours, I slung hammers, I got calluses in my hand. Lord, please. Please, Lord, don't take my Habitat out." And glory be to God. She stood the test of times. If there's anything that I could say that would make a difference to anyone in here, it is a very well needed organization. I thank God for touching the people in America's Georgia, where it first started. I thank God for people like their Habitat for Humanity here in Orlando, who gave us a hope. And there are other families could stand here before you and tell you successful stories that Habitat just didn't build a home, it changed people's lives. And I know nothing in this world more important than another human being's life. I thank you. You don't know what it's like to not have a home and work hard and keep working And it seemed though it wasn't going to happen. But the day that I moved in that house in February of 1991 and got that occupational license to move in, it changed my whole life. I invite you, I have an open door policy in the Paramore area. There's no guarded gate, but there's a lot of love. And I invite you to come through and see the difference and what it did for my children and myself and others, that it made a difference in their lives. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything.